What if your productivity struggles aren't because of laziness, but because you're managing the wrong thing? What if, instead of managing your time, you learned how to manage your mind? This is Mind Management, Not Time Management by David Kadavy, a guide to creative productivity in a world obsessed with the clock. We were taught that to be productive, you manage your hours. Wake up early, fill out a to-do list, power through your tasks. That works in a factory. But creativity isn't an assembly line. David Kadavy says the real secret to doing meaningful work isn't to squeeze more into your day. It's to align your work with how your mind actually functions. Your mental energy, creative rhythms, and even your emotions matter more than your calendar. Mind management, not time management. Chapter 1. Redefining Productivity, Mind over Time. Imagine the gears of a clock, each tooth and cog carefully turning. That's how we often think about productivity. We tally hours and minutes as if we could engineer our output like a machine. David Kadavy challenges this view. Time management is like squeezing blood from a stone. In other words, trying to force more out of the clock alone only leaves us drained and frustrated. Most of us have tried every scheduling trick and life hack we can find, and yet by day's end, the list only seems longer. We start the morning energized, but by evening feel drained, not because we ran out of time, but because we ran out of mental energy. Think of a weekend packed with activity. The hours are there, but does your motivation match? Kadavy says the real bottleneck isn't time, it's energy and focus. This chapter reframes productivity. It's not about hours on the clock, but about how you use your mind in those hours. Instead of asking, how can I hack my schedule? We start asking, how can I harness my mind's natural rhythms and states? For example, rather than pushing yourself to write that big proposal at 9 p.m. when you're exhausted, notice if your brain is saying, go do email instead. Reflect on your week so far. Did you ever have a period where you had all the hours in the world yet still felt stuck? Maybe you met your deadlines but felt creatively empty. Or you chased a rigid plan and found every obstacle increased stress. These moments illustrate Kadavy's point. Productivity isn't improved by faster clocks. It's improved by managing your mind. The transition is clear. We have the time, but do we have the energy and the right mental state to use it well? Kadavy's approach will turn the question around, so put away the stopwatch. In the next chapter, we'll explore the concept of the creative sweet spot, finding those windows when your mind naturally flows, and learning to guard them fiercely. Chapter 2. Finding your creative sweet spot. Not all hours are created equal. Some people are bursting with ideas at dawn, others at dusk. These peak times are what Kadavy calls our creative sweet spot. Imagine you're a baker. Some days your bread rises perfectly by morning, other days the oven never heats up. Your mind has a similar cycle. Kadavy urges us to identify when our creative oven heats up. Are you a morning thinker or a night owl? Do you find solutions on Sunday afternoons or weeknights? Pinpointing your personal rhythm helps you schedule deep work when you're naturally sharp. For example, if you notice you brainstorm best on Tuesdays between 10 a.m. and noon, then block that time for idea generating, not for tedious chores. Think of a time you felt in the zone when ideas came effortlessly. That's your sweet spot in action. Keep a notebook for a week. Jot down when you had a burst of inspiration or easily solved a problem. You might see a pattern. Maybe Mondays are sluggish, but Wednesday mornings light up with insight. Once identified, protect your sweet spot. Turn off notifications, close the office door, or find a quiet cafe. Treat it like a treasured meeting with yourself. Kadavy emphasizes guarding this time. No endless meetings or shallow tasks should steal your creative peak. During your sweet spot, tackle the hardest and most creative tasks first. Whether it's writing a chapter, designing a slide deck, or mapping out a project, do it when your brain is prime. Later in the day, you can handle emails or minor edits. For instance, many writers find that early morning yields the best prose, while afternoons are better for chores. Reflective exercise. For the next few days, notice your energy curve. What time of day did you feel most alert? When did ideas flow? Journaling this can reveal your sweet spot. In Chapter 5, we'll see how these periods align with mental states. But first, let's walk through the natural cycle of creativity itself, the 4 stages that every creative problem goes through. Chapter 3. Embracing the 4 stages of creative work. Creative work often follows a hidden rhythm. Kadavy builds on a classic insight. Breakthroughs rarely come while you're staring hard at a problem. Instead, they emerge from a cycle of stages. This is reminiscent of Hermann von Helmholtz's story. The great scientist noted that his best ideas arrived suddenly without any effort, never at the writing desk, but after walking or resting. Kadavy distills this into the 4 stages of creativity. First, there's the preparation stage. Here, you gather information and define the problem, sketching rough ideas, making lists, researching. For example, if you're writing a book, this might mean outlining chapters and reading relevant research. It's focused, structured work. Next comes incubation. This is the counterintuitive part. Step away. Go for a walk, cook dinner, or take a shower. Your mind continues churning in the background. In this relaxed state, unexpected connections can form. Kadavy's point: you can do in 5 minutes what used to take all day by letting your passive genius work behind the scenes. Einstein famously would leave a problem overnight and wake with the solution. The third stage is illumination, when insight strikes. Perhaps in the morning you suddenly see the right angle to solve a problem you wrestled with yesterday. Or while jogging, a phrase for your blog surfaces fully formed. These aha moments are not forced, they arrive when incubation has done its work. Finally comes verification or implementation. Now you return with clarity and get practical. Write the section, build the prototype, refine the design. This is focused execution and polishing of the idea. Kadavy warns that if you push too hard without trusting this cycle, you'll get stuck. As he asks, ever get stuck creatively? Probably because you weren't following the 4 stages. He suggests aligning your energy with each stage. When tired, force incubation or light tasks. When fresh, do the heavy lifting generation work. Example: imagine you need to design a new logo. Start by sketching ideas and researching styles. Preparation: when you hit a wall, do something relaxing. Incubation: maybe a short nap or walk. Soon, a concept might pop into mind. Illumination: then you sit down and craft the final design. Verification. Reflective question: think of a problem you've postponed. Can you map it to these stages? Maybe sketch or plan tonight. Prep. Then leave it overnight, incubate, and tackle it tomorrow morning. Illuminate. Implement. Noticing this natural rhythm will save frustration and help ideas flow. Chapter 4. Riding your creative cycles. Not only do we have stages, but we have cycles in our energy too. Kadavy points out that hidden patterns thread through our lives waiting to be tapped. Hidden patterns are in your energy, in the world, and in your projects. Ride them wisely to get more impactful breakthroughs and propel your ideas forward. What kinds of cycles? First, think daily cycles, your body's circadian rhythm. Are you more alert in the morning or evening? Use those natural swings. Then, weekly cycles. Many people have different energy on Mondays versus Fridays. For instance, if you're drained by Friday afternoon, that might be a good time for admin tasks, saving peak creativity for early week. Seasonal cycles can matter too. Some creators do deep work in winter's quiet and schedule lighter tasks in summer. Even lunar or personal cycles can sneak in. Some writers notice they write more on new moons or in certain months. Projects themselves have cycles. The beginning of a project might be all inspiration, defining vision, followed by heavy focused work, building, then refinement tweaking. Watch for project phases. Align them with your personal energy. To make this concrete, try tracking one cycle now. For a week, note your mood and focus level every day. You might see patterns. Maybe you dip after lunch, a natural lull, or you sprint with energy before holidays. Next time you plan your week, schedule creative work where you saw peaks and routine tasks where you saw dips. Even your environment has cycles. City streets bustle differently on weekend versus weekday. Coffee shops quiet on Tuesday afternoons. Picking the right time and place to work can ride these external patterns. By becoming aware of these rhythms, you no longer fight the tide. You surf on it. Choose to do complex analysis when you feel the freshest, and simpler sorting tasks during the routine lulls. Kadavy's advice: trust these hidden cycles and schedule around them rather than against them. Chapter 5. Aligning tasks to your mental state. Kadavy's core insight is that our minds operate in distinct states, and matching tasks to the right state unlocks flow. He identifies 7 mental states: prioritize, research, explore, generate, polish, administrate, and recover. Each one calls for different activities. Prioritize, deciding what truly matters. In this state, you create to-do lists and set goals. Research, deep investigation. You read articles, gather data, learn facts. Explore, open-ended curiosity. This is brainstorming, letting your mind wander over possibilities. Generate, focused creation. You write, code, compose, doing the core work that requires undivided attention. Polish, refining, and editing. You clean up drafts, tweak designs, make something presentable. Administrate, routine tasks and upkeep, responding to email, paying bills, organizing files. Recover, rest and reset. Taking breaks, sleeping, relaxing, letting your brain recharge. Notice how different these are. Now, Kadavy makes a bold suggestion. Don't treat your to-do list as one big undifferentiated pile. Instead, categorize tasks by the mental state they require. He puts it this way: why do we treat our to-do lists as if anything were possible at any moment? It's much more productive and more fun to do the thing that matches the mental state that you're in at the particular moment. For example, if after lunch you feel sleepy, an administrate-friendly state, use that time to file expense reports or sort email, not to draft your novel. If you wake up feeling lively and curious, explore research, start by reading or brainstorming, not by crunching numbers. When you feel energized and focused, generate, tackle that big creative project. Mini exercise. This week, try writing down tasks on separate lists by state. One list for brainstorming ideas, one for focused writing or coding, one for emails, one for editing, etc. Then each day, look at how you feel. Pick tasks that fit your mood. You might find you get through the generate list faster when you do it at your peak time, and the administrate tasks become less dreadful when you reserve them for moments of fatigue. Kadavy even took this personally. He mentioned that instead of randomly choosing tasks off his to-do list, he grouped them by state, so he could simply say, I'm in an X state now. What fits here? Over time, he tuned his schedule to flow from one state to another. Reflective question. Look at your current to-do list. Can you group items into these categories? Which state do you spend the most time in? What tasks could you reassign to a different state? By aligning tasks with your mental state, you'll notice something profound. Creative breakthroughs come easy, and the busy work does itself. In other words, when your mind is right for the job, it feels almost effortless, and when it's not, you leave it for another time. This simple shift can turn each day into a dance of fitting work to state, instead of constantly forcing square pegs into round holes. Chapter 6. Unleashing Your Passive Genius. One of the counterintuitive principles Kadavy teaches is to step back and let your brain work on its own. He calls this the power of our passive genius. As the book points out, do in only 5 minutes what used to take all day. Let your passive genius do your best thinking when you're not even thinking. What does this mean? Often, the hardest problems get solved when we're not staring at them. Think of any time you found the right word while showering or solved a math puzzle during a walk. That's your passive genius at work, the subconscious making connections. Neuroscience even identifies a default mode network that helps our mind wander and link ideas when we're at rest. Give your brain the room to do this by intentionally creating incubation space. When you feel stuck, don't bang your head on the desk. Instead, take a short walk outside. Doodle on a notepad. Meditate for 5 minutes. Or even shift to a trivial task, like washing dishes, and let your mind roam. These moments of unfocused activity can trigger inspiration. Kadavy shares the insight, and others on his podcast echo it, that sometimes just putting down your pen and daydreaming can do what used to take all day. Vivid example. A writer struggling with an opening sentence takes a break to play fetch with his dog. By the time the dog drops the ball again, the sentence has come to him. This is not magic, it's incubation. Reflective exercise. Today, when you hit a block, pause and do something unrelated for 10 minutes. Then come back and see if a solution has crystallized. Journal a few instances of this. You may notice your aha moments happen when you least expect them. In short, respect your passive genius. It's a secret ally. By scheduling short breaks and downtime during intensive projects, you amplify creativity. Kadavy's advice. Sometimes, to solve a problem faster, stop actively solving it and let your subconscious fill in the gaps. Chapter 7. Tools for Focus. Technology Without Distractions. In our digital age, gadgets can either be kryptonite or superpower. Kadavy urges us to use technology to aid creativity, not derail it. He quips, wield all of the power of technology with none of the distractions. An obscure but inexpensive gadget may be the shortcut to your superpowers. What does this look like in practice? It might mean choosing an e-ink reader, like a basic Kindle in airplane mode, to read articles offline, or writing on a simple text editor that can't ping you with notifications. Even a cheap analog notebook or a focused app on your phone can become your secret weapon. Here are some strategies. Remove distractions. Turn off email and social media notifications when you need deep work. Use website blocking apps during your sweet spot. Embrace single-purpose tools. Consider writing on paper or a basic word processor rather than in a full-featured app with endless bells and whistles. For example, some authors keep a separate laptop only for writing, with internet disabled. Use ambient cues. Play a certain playlist or light a particular candle when you want to signal creative time. Over time, your brain will associate these cues with focus. Leverage simple devices. An old-fashioned timer, Pomodoro, or even an egg timer can keep you on task without the distractions of a smartphone. Kadavy suggests sometimes a little tech gadget can break a creative block. It might be as simple as a meditation app to clear your mind, or a voice recorder to capture sudden ideas on the go. The key is mindful use. Keep the power of devices, information, communication, speed. But remove the mind-numbing pull of constant alerts. Reflective question. Look at your workspace. What tech devices or apps help you focus? What are the biggest culprits for distraction? Try a mini experiment. For one day, eliminate one digital distraction. Mute a chat, close an email tab, and note how your focus changes. In essence, tame technology so it serves your mind. This way, you have a shortcut to your superpowers, tools that amplify creativity, not scatter it. Chapter 8, Thriving Amid Chaos and Serendipity. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. Flights get canceled, emails flood in, projects pivot unexpectedly. Instead of breaking down, Kadavy teaches us to see these detours as opportunities. He writes, keep going, even when chaos strikes. Tap into the unexpected to find your next big idea. How can chaos benefit creativity? When your routine is suddenly off, your brain is forced to adapt and see things differently. Remember when a snowstorm once trapped you at home, but you ended up writing your best article because all other plans were canceled? Or when a tight deadline required a simple solution that turned out to be brilliant? These disruptions yank you out of autopilot and can spark fresh perspective to harness chaos. Stay calm and curious. If a plan crumbles, resist the urge to panic. Ask, what new angle can I explore now? Instead of lamenting lost time, use it to pivot creatively. Have flexible systems. If you've planned a week of data analysis but lose power, maybe switch to sketching ideas by hand. Kadavy's point is to build resilience into your mind management system so that even if life throws you for a loop, you have tools to proceed. Serendipity. Unexpected encounters can also fuel ideas. Chatting with a colleague about an unrelated project might spark a metaphor or connection for your own work. Kadavy admits he's been there, done that. Personal setbacks have taught him to lean on these principles. The practices we've covered, mental states, incubation, sweet spots, are not just for smooth days. They become your anchor when things go awry. For example, if a sudden meeting knocks out your generate time, perhaps you switch to administer mode and complete backlog tasks instead. Thought exercise. Recall a time when something went wrong at work or in a creative project. Did you find an unexpected solution? Write down how you pivoted. Kadavy's strategy is to learn from those experiences and build a mindset. Even in chaos, the mind you have learned to harness can work for you. Ultimately, by embracing change rather than fighting it, you make room for the next big idea to surface in even the most turbulent moment. Before we continue, please consider liking the video and subscribe to the channel to help me make more of these. Thanks for the support. Let's go on. Chapter 9. Building your creative productivity system. We've covered a lot of ground, from identifying your creative peaks to organizing tasks by mental state, and even using idle time as a creative ally. Now, how does this all fit together? Kadavy's answer is to turn these principles into a personal system, a way of life that runs on your mind's natural flow. He echoes artist Konstantin Brancusi. Things are not difficult to make. What is difficult is putting ourselves in the state of mind to make them. In other words, the hard part is creating the right conditions, not the work itself. Your job is to arrange those conditions, your environment, your schedule, your cues, all aligned with your creative engine. A quick recap of the tools you now have. Time versus energy mindset. You understand that saving time isn't the goal, maximizing energy is. Creative sweet spot. You've identified when your brain peaks and will fiercely protect that time. 4 stages. You know when to gather info, when to step back, and when to execute. Creative cycles. You watch patterns in your day, week, year, and ride them rather than swim upstream. Mental states. You categorize tasks, prioritize, research, explore, generate, polish, administrate, recover, and do them in the matching state. Passive genius. You give yourself breaks and trust your subconscious to contribute ideas. Tech balance. You leverage technology for creativity while muting its distractions. Chaos resilience. You've practiced pivoting and staying creative when plans change. By weaving these into habits, you create a system that feels less like a rigid rulebook and more like a responsive mindset. For example, your weekly routine might be Monday morning, prioritize key goals. Midweek, block 2 hours of generate during your sweet spot. Daily, 15-minute, explore break in nature. Always. One administer, recover period before end of day. The payoff is profound. Tasks that once felt uphill can become effortless when you're in the right state. As Kadavy says, applying these ideas lets you learn faster, make better decisions, and turn your best ideas into reality. The ultimate shift is internal, trusting that your mind, when managed rather than micromanaged, is your most powerful resource. You aren't battling the clock, you're dancing with your creativity. Conclusion: less hustle, more flow. We started by asking, you have the time to, you have the energy to use it well? Through this journey, David Kadavy has shown that the key is aligning our work with the mind's natural rhythms. By the end of this book, you'll embrace a new mantra: less hustle, more flow, riding the waves of your creativity. Imagine an average day under this approach. You wake up knowing you'll tackle your hardest task at your peak hour. When you feel foggy, you switch to easier tasks without guilt. You step away without stress, trusting that your brain is still at work. Even when life throws curveballs, you adapt because your system is built on understanding yourself, not rigid schedules. Take a moment now to breathe deeply. These ideas aren't just theories, they're keys to a more fulfilling creative life. Perhaps right now, you're already aligned with one of your mental states, maybe ready to write, generate, or dreaming up ideas on a walk. Explore. Whatever state you find yourself in, honor it. As we close, ask yourself, what's one small change you'll make today to start managing your mind instead of the clock? Will you note your energy peaks? Shuffle your to-do list by mental state? Or give yourself permission to do nothing for 5 minutes? Pick one and try it. Remember, this isn't about following every rule perfectly. It's about learning to listen to your mind's wisdom and cultivating a mindset where creativity can thrive naturally. You've unlocked the principles of mind management, not time management. Now, go create something great on your own terms. Believe in your mind's genius. Sometimes it just needs the right moment to shine.